Welcome, everyone, to Live Breathe Film, episode 79. You're here with Corey, Doug, and Murph. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to focus strictly on who we'd like to see win at this weekend's 95th Academy Awards ceremony, along with providing some box office updates for this winter. We'll start with the box office. First things first, Avatar, The Way of Water, is continuing to make money, continuing to rise up the charts. Since our last episode, I believe it solidified itself as the third biggest film worldwide. I believe at the last one, it was already the third biggest film internationally. But yeah, it's third. It's settled for third in both of those categories. Um, won't move up in either of them. As far as domestically, it has surpassed Jurassic World and I believe the Avengers, The Last Jedi, Incredibles 2 since our last episode. What's now at number 9. It's only 3 million behind James Cameron. So James Cameron is about to top James Cameron again, just as he's done internationally and worldwide. It also looks like it likely will top Infinity War as well. It only needs another 7 million to do that. So yeah, looks like Avatar: The Way of Water will end up as the seventh biggest film all time domestically. Um, be interesting to see where the series goes, more specifically domestically, I would say, with its third installment, because it seems like the worldwide box office, international box office, has been on par with the last one, while this one sort of dipped by about, with all the re-releases, $100 million. But when you consider inflation and everything like that, it was definitely a major dip. Um, but we'll see in less than 2 years. We don't have to wait another 11 years or 13 years like we did between Avatar and Avatar 2.
I'm assuming that its run is almost over, right? I thought it would have been over by now. It's
It's
March.
still in the top. Let's see, this most recent weekend, it was this number 6 movie.
That's
Um,
crazy.
had about 3.6 million. So it's 3 million behind Titanic right now.
Mhm.
So by the end of the weekend, it should be like right behind it, between weekdays and the weekends, and maybe a little extra box office because of the Oscar weekend and the fact that it is nominated for Best Picture. Um, and then, yeah, I think it'll crawl its way past Infinity War over the next month.
Yeah, because I think it comes on digital in 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Okay,
I think so.
gotcha.
Which doesn't
Um,
necessarily stop it because
no,
No,
it's
Puss keeps trucking along, and that's been out on digital for a
yeah,
while.
that is
that's
wild to me.
number 8. This past weekend just keeps on chugging along. Um, it's that one has been even more shocking to see than Avatar. Um,
It's so
so
leggy.
we expected Avatar to be make a ton of money and be like, even though everyone was doom and gloom after its opening weekend. We were very confident that it was all bullshit headlines and that it was going to leg out, and it did. Um, but yeah, Puss in Boots has been a surprise, bigger than the first one, and just keeps on making money. Um, it's funny, DreamWorks and Illumination have both been more successful than Pixar and Disney Animation ever since the pandemic when it comes to their theatrical animation releases.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
They'll likely continue that way this year.
We're gonna see with Mario.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, I take that back. We will definitely be seeing Illumination continue to exceed Pixar and Disney this year. Um, and I forget what DreamWorks has on deck, but wouldn't surprise me if they also have a better year. They really fucked themselves with focusing so much on Disney Plus with their animated department over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
since they condition people to just watch their movies at home, which is why now they are announcing so many sequels. Frozen 3, Toy Story 5, Zootopia 2. So we shall see. But let's talk about where we're at in the box office pool as far as our winter and spring one go. Those right now, Doug, we're in a massive lead with your Jonathan Majors double feature of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Creed 3. Granted, it's a very, I would say, it's not a great double feature because half the movies aren't that good, and the other half is very good. But yeah, it's been weird seeing Ant-Man's performance. Looks like it's going to end up making less than Ant-Man and the Wasp did. Iron Man 2, Age of Ultron, Wakanda Forever are the only other ones that dropped from its predecessor. Granted, this will be a small drop like Iron Man 2 versus the massive ones that Age of Ultron and Wakanda Forever had. But yeah, they didn't get the bump that they were expecting with this third entry and the start of Phase 5. I think they were hoping for like a Civil War, start of Phase 3, and that final entry and follow up to like a big Phase 2, like a big jump from 2 to 3, similar to
Yeah.
Ragnarok and Civil War.
It's
But they
just
haven't
the
worked
word of
out yet.
mouth.
And
Yeah, the
Iron
word
Man
of mouth
3, all
so-
three of those had massive jumps to their third one.
The
and
word of
Infinity
mouth
War.
just like kneecaps these movies. If they don't have good word of mouth, like they just fucking sink.
Yeah, they're becoming very much like fans only, like people who are like so invested at this point. Granted, fans only for them is still going to be making over $200 million. At the moment, Ant-Man has 187 million. So it'll top 200 million, but I don't see it being able to get to the 213 million that Ant-Man and the Wasp had, based on its most recent weekend and the fact that it has just dropped considerably each weekend so far. I think, what was it, 70% or 68% its first
Yeah, I thought
second
it was
week.
like 70% almost.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was I think it was originally touted as MCU's biggest drop, biggest second weekend drop, but then when the actuals came out, it was second biggest. But then it dropped about 60%. It's going from weekend 2 to
That's
3.
the crazy part is that how they did it again, basically,
Yeah, and
because that usually doesn't happen.
it's gonna do it again this weekend because it's gonna lose a lot more screens, and it's Scream 4 or sorry, Scream 6 is projected to make quite a bit of money this weekend. Another movie that you have, Doug. So yeah, you're doing very well with your first three picks.
I
Scream
did
6 is
see
yeah.
I did see 65 million. Is it it's embargoed till like the release date, and
65
that the
is not
people
making money.
that have seen it, it's like apparently horrible.
Yeah, it's
Which movie?
projected to make in the high single
65, the
digits
Adam
this weekend.
Driver dinosaur movie.
Oh, 65. Yeah.
They lowered the projections to like 10 million or something.
Yeah, so high single digits. Meanwhile, Scream 6 is projected for like the biggest opening in the franchise, with like 40 million or something like that. And it wouldn't shock
It,
me if it exceeds it. I mean, Jenna Ortega is hosting SNL this weekend. Like, everyone seems excited about the new setting in New York. The reviews are strong. So, yeah, should have a big opening weekend. And then Creed 3 this past weekend, biggest opening in the series, biggest sports opening ever, with 58 million. Friggin' huge. I thought that when I was drafting, I looked at it as like, okay, these movies have averaged about 120 million the first two, like total. Rocky's not in this one. It doesn't have the Thanksgiving weekend that I had for the previous two to get that boost or at the holidays. It'll probably make around the same or maybe a little less. But no, turns out not having Rocky in it changed the audience demographics, and made the movie open bigger. And the movie was higher in quality than the second, which is only going to help it in the long run. So you're probably going to look at like a 150 million movie from Creed 3, which, when balancing out with Ant-Man, turns out to probably still be on the lower end of your predictions with what those two combined would have made, but still pretty strong. Corey, you're in second place right now. So going down from 245 million from Doug to 91 million. You've had three of your films out so far: Knock at the Cabin, Titanic's re-release, and Cocaine Bear. Titanic ended up making about 15 million, 10 million less than the Avatar re-release of last year. Knock at the Cabin, bit of a disappointment for M. Night Shyamalan. He's moving from um, Universal to Warner Brothers moving forward after this release. That's going to be his new home. And then, what did it end up with? Or it only ended up with like 35 million. And
Yeah, that was surprising to me.
Yeah, it was surprising to me too.
Really
Especially, the quality was high. I mean, it's like I think it's one of the top 5 ranked movies for him on Rotten Tomatoes, and I would put it in my personal top 5 of his films. So I thought it was odd what it made. And then Cocaine Bear has actually turned out to be your biggest one so far. That's already made over 40 million. So it was an enjoyable film. Silly concept that actually worked out. I was kind of expecting a snakes on a plane type situation where everyone was like talking about it in advance, and then not actually showing up to the theaters, but people showed up to the theaters. And it got 41, made 11 million this past weekend, so certainly should make over 50 million, maybe close to 60. Meanwhile, Snakes on a Plane only made 34 million total.
Yeah, that movie dropped hard.
Yeah, and didn't even open that well. It was all hype on the internet, or mostly people joking around, and I guess people took it for people actually being excited. And then me in last place, where I'm going to stay for by the end of this. Got 63 million with 80 for Brady and Magic Mike's Last Dance. 80 for Brady. That ended up with around the same amount as Knock at the Cabin, a little bit more, I believe. It's got 38 million compared to Knock at the Cabin's 35, and then Magic Mike's Last Dance, 25 million. So not that great. Shazam's not projected to make much, which really just put the nail in the coffin for me. John Wick 4 will do well, but I'm pretty much fucked otherwise. So it's between you two.
Wick's gonna do really well if the reviews are really solid. The first reactions to Shazam are actually pretty positive.
Yeah, I don't know. Early tracking is like only looking at 35 million. Hopefully it's wrong. I mean, the first.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if like it could be a reverse Ant-Man where like good word of mouth pushes it up.
Yeah, like the first movie made 140 million and absolutely had its knees cut off once Endgame opened on its third weekend. So I was like, I was optimistic that this one would be something closer to like 175. But yeah, we shall see. If the reviews are good, hopefully it ends up performing. But right now, I think people aren't too high on DC in general when it comes to their cinematic universe, just because everything is so in flux right now. Black Adam was a major disappointment for them. While they have the Batman, that's its own thing. But I mean, what was the last DCEU hit?
Other than the Batman,
Well, that's not
DCU.
even DCEU. So
Aquaman.
Prior to the pandemic, I would think.
Yeah. Do you count Zack Snyder's Justice League?
If we want to count it, it really wasn't the hit that they were hoping for. They pissed away a ton of money for that HBO Max release.
Oh.
Sorry, bots, if you are listening. Birds of Prey wasn't that successful. got cut off a little bit with the start of the pandemic and in theaters shutting down. The Suicide Squad bombed in theaters. Granted, it was a day and date release with HBO Max. Same with Wonder Woman 1984, and at that point, things were really bleak with COVID. But yeah, and then Black Adam. So they haven't had a hit since probably Aquaman. Um,
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild.
Aquaman was the end of 2018, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they had Shazam and earlier in 2018.
It's not going to do Shazam any favors that like everyone knows that the movie, even though it's not,
or
it's
in
contained.
2019. No, Shazam was their last one, their last
Yeah.
hit because that was 2019.
Yeah, that makes sense. But Shazam's sequel, it doesn't help that like this is like the end of this you know current cinematic universe, and even though it's contained its own thing, people think it's
People don't know,
involved in that universe.
People don't know if it's a waste, like is if there's going to be a follow-up installment, like, or if this is just the end of it. They've been so vague when talking about these movies that are coming out this year on their slate that I'm worried for the success of, well, based on what we're hearing about Aquaman 2 being utter trash, I'm worried about that to a degree. Then Blue Beetle, that was originally an HBO Max movie, so I don't know what that is, how well that's going to do. The Flash should be a hit just because of the Michael Keaton of it all. And I know you guys are high on the concept, and it seems like that's going to be huge in setting up this new DCU. But yeah, I think Shazam might be a victim of all the changes that are taking place and the shoddy knit, the up and down quality of the DC EU of the last 5 years or however long. But yeah, I expect to go. I'll top Corey for a little bit when Shazam and John Wick come out. Doug, I don't see myself ever topping you. With Scream 4, I think Dungeons & Dragons might end up being a hit. You got Renfield, which could be, I don't think it'll be a hit, but it'll make a little bit of money. But I really have nothing that'll break out in big numbers after John Wick. So it's between you two. I bequeath the title to one of you. I've already started thinking of the summer and what I'll do based on if I get the first, second, or third pick. But yeah, we'll circle back next week because I know we want to do an episode talking about The Last of Us and the entire season. So the season finale is this weekend, so we will likely record next weekend, and we can talk about the box office for Scream 6 and 65.
Do you guys think that Do you guys think that Mario will top Avatar?
No. Not that bullish.
No.
On the movie. I think it's going to be a very big hit, but
not going to be James Cameron big.
I think it'll be like probably make like close to 400 million. But no, I don't think it's going to be a $700 million movie. Do you?
I don't know. I mean, how much did Minions make?
370, something like that.
That's it? I thought it made more than that.
I am fact checking. Rise of Gru made 369.
It seems like it did better than that.
Minions 1 made 336. The Despicable Me movies, I believe, have topped out around like 400 and 420 or 430.
I could potentially see the Mario effect since it's like 360 for Minions. I could see the Mario effect maybe bringing it to close to 600.
No, like 368 is the highest for a Despicable Me movie.
All right.
So Minions is bigger than
Minions 2 is the biggest movie in the series. I don't see it going any higher than 600, and that would be like I think the ceiling for me.
I'm gonna say it goes.
I would say 500 is the ceiling.
I'm gonna say it gets higher than 600. That's my prediction here today.
I hope you're right, but we'll see.
I mean, the fact that Sonic, which wasn't good in my opinion, made like close to 200 million twice now, and makes me think Mario will do at least can easily double because it actually looks good, looks like the game.
It's predicated on definitely on how good it is. If it actually is a really good movie, then I could see it happening.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna have a massive opening weekend. We'll see, but yeah, it's between you two guys. So, we'll talk more about the box office later. But let's get into the Academy Awards. It's this weekend. Let's talk about our wish list. We'll run through the majority of the categories and pick what we want to see win in each of them. We are skipping categories that we have no knowledge in, such as the short films, both live action and animated, the documentary features, both short and feature length, international feature film, but we should be able to cover the rest of them. So let's start with, we all have our Wikipedia links open with all the nominees, but we'll start from the bottom down. So we got best visual effects. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick.
I'd like to see Top Gun take this, but I think Avatar. I would definitely like to see Top Gun take this. The visual effects were crazy in that movie.
You're crazy.
No, it's a no-brainer for me. It's Avatar: The Way of Water.
It's Avatar, like,
it's literally a game changer. Avatar or Top Gun wasn't so much like visual effects; it was more practical effects.
It's still a visual effect, though. It's just practically done, but it's not done with CG.
I think there's another there's some other
categories that it fits more appropriately, like cinematography or cinematography and editing would be the more appropriate categories, in my opinion. Yes, I mean it is a visual effect. I guess I've never really thought of it that way, but like you don't see movies with like great martial arts nominated for visual effects. You don't see John Wick nominated because like they don't have any sort of like crazy stunt category. Which if they did, then that would absolutely be Top Guns. But yeah, for me, it's Avatar.
Probably will win. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say other than one other category, which we'll get to, should be a lock. I mean, crazier things can happen. Avatar might not win, but that will just be insane, in my opinion. It's what a horrible nominee in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Not even good effects.
Yeah, the effects,
especially when you see The Way of Water, like it's like you realize how ugly the effects were in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
They've never been good at the effects for Black Panther.
Yeah, but this you could tell that things were just unfinished. Like
they looked unfinished in the first one too.
Yeah, but I think Black Panther, the original, was because of budget constraints. I don't think it was time related. This I think
I don't understand how
Wakanda Forever.
They have the backing of Marvel though. I just don't understand how.
Yeah, but at the time, I don't think the budget, they really used as much of the budget for the movie. It shows, I think.
The last fight scene in Black Panther 1 is a PS3 video game cutscene.
Yeah, it is.
It's horrible.
I should also denote, I don't believe any of us have seen All Quiet on the Western Front yet. I plan on watching it this weekend.
I want to watch that. It's high on my list.
I believe it has the second most nominations or third most nominations this year. So, but yeah, there's still no way it has better effects than Avatar. Um, but all right, let's move on. Best costume design. We've got Babylon, Black Panther, Elvis, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Um,
How do you want to? Do you want to switch who the first person is every time?
sure. Who talked first last time? Corey? All
Mm-hmm.
right. Doug, you can go this time.
Sweet, my favorite category. I was thinking Elvis. I thought like just the costume stood out to me. You know, it's very, um, it seemed very accurate to the costumes that were worn at the time, and um, you know, Elvis is known for wearing elaborate costumes, and I, I thought they did a good job recreating a lot of those costumes. So Elvis is the one that kind of stuck out to me for this one.
Okay. I think I'll go Babylon. Um, again, period piece. It's really just for Margot Robbie's outfits. It instantly makes me think of costume design. Um, yeah, I'd go Babylon, but I wouldn't be remotely upset if Elvis wins.
Yeah, I definitely would be between those two movies for the exact same reasons. I probably lean more towards Babylon myself, just because I thought the costumes overall were like really unique and I guess period correct for the time. Elvis, I didn't find anything really stand out except for Elvis's costumes, which were great. But I think overall for Babylon across the board, there was some like really neat stuff with a lot of the characters.
Um, all right, that brings us to best film editing. We've got The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. Um, I go this time, and it's a no-brainer for me in Top Gun Maverick for editing.
Yep, I completely agree. Anyone that's edited down like hundreds of hours worth of footage to make it like, you know, somehow made it work as a movie, and you know, made it really fun to watch. Um, yeah, for me, it's kind of a no-brainer too with Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree with Top Gun. Everything Everywhere, I think, could also be argued as well because the editing in that movie was really good.
I would say that would be my runner-up, and it
Yeah,
wouldn't shock me if it's the winner
yeah,
because they've just been winning like everything. Um, I believe at the ACE Eddie's Awards this past weekend, the two of them split it. Everything Everywhere won Best Editing for comedy. Um, Maverick won for drama. So it's definitely between those two. But yeah, it seemed we're all on consensus about Maverick. All right, that gives Corey best makeup and hairstyling. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther, Elvis, and The Whale.
Um, I would probably go with Elvis on this one, just because the work that they did with Austin Butler, like not only did he embody the character, but he looked like Elvis as well. They did a really good job with his makeup throughout like that time period that the movie took place. So that would be my pick.
So I'm gonna. This is kind of weird for me to pick because I haven't seen the movie, but um, I'm gonna go with the whale, just from like the trailers and the footage I've seen. I think what they did with Brendan Fraser is really impressive, and so that kind of sticks out to me from like a makeup perspective. Is you know how they were able to get Brendan Fraser to look the way that he did.
Yeah, I think that's possible for sure.
And I am going to make this one a complete split decision. I'm going to go with the Batman. Colin Farrell was invisible to me as the Penguin.
That's true. That's a good point.
Meanwhile, I saw Tom Hanks the entire time in Elvis. I saw Brendan Fraser throughout The Whale. The Whale would be my runner-up. And I think it's likely going to be the tough one to beat. But yeah, it's the Batman for me. So moving on, best cinematography. Doug, you'll kick it off, but we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. I will be honest, I've never even heard of this film.
I was jokingly going to pick it.
It's not even nominated for Best International Film. I'm not sure where it's I don't know why it's not, if it's nominated for such a big award. Interesting. We've got Elvis, Empire of Light by the master Roger Deakins, and Tar.
So this is kind of like a weird category for me, partially because I haven't seen most of these movies. So I'm going to go not necessarily... because I wouldn't pick Elvis or Tar to win this, or I don't think they would be my pick either. I'm going to go with like who I think would be the best cinematography. And I think I'm going to go with All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all picking a movie we haven't seen for one of
but it makes
technical categories.
It makes sense, based on the trailers and stuff that
I haven't even seen a trailer for the movie.
I've seen the trailer.
I've seen still images, and they look impressive. Of the ones I've seen, I'd go with probably Empire of Light. But yeah, I just have a feeling All Quiet on the Western Front is the one that has the best cinematography.
And that's probably the one that's going to win.
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Going to pull, didn't 1917 also win best cinematography?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's it's turning into a World War I category. If that is the case. But all right, so we're all going with a movie we've never seen. First one, is this the first one we're all in agreement on?
No,
we were in agreement for Top Gun.
Editing, yes, film editing.
Editing, yeah.
Arguably the two biggest technical categories we're in agreement on, but one of which we didn't see. Interesting. Okay. Best sound. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun Maverick. I am going with The Batman again. I think it's nominated for 3 things, and I wasn't expecting to already. I've picked it for 2. But that movie was propulsive. Just in IMAX, it sounded incredible. Maverick would be my runner-up. But yeah, I'm going with the Batman.
Yeah, I was gonna say Maverick. That was gonna be where I was gonna go. Just for the the stuff that they did technically with sound in that movie was pretty great, especially if you saw it in IMAX.
Yeah, with me, the Batmobile is one of the big things that really hit, and then even just Robert Pattinson's footsteps, little things like that. It stuck out to me. Doug, what do you got?
Yeah, I was gonna go the Batman's the one that stuck out to me too. I was gonna say the Batmobile is something that sound wise really stuck out to me. When you hear the engine fire up and kind of come to life, that was such a moment that sticks out in my mind. I think if I had to pick who's gonna win, I think it's probably gonna be Top Gun Maverick.
I would agree on that.
But I think just the Batman kind of stuck with me more, but I think Top Gun would be a close second.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't think the Batman really has a shot of winning. I could see Elvis winning. I could see All Quiet on the Western Front winning, even though I've never seen the film. Um, but and I could see Top Gun winning. I'd be surprised if the Batman somehow upset. Okay. Um, best production design: All Quiet on the Western Front, The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fablemans. Corey, you can kick us off with who you think or who you would like to see win.
Um. So for this one, I would say Babylon. Um. A lot of the sets that were in the movie and just the overall design of of the film was really interesting. So I think that would be one that I'd like to see win.
I'm on the same
It's
page with
very
you.
stylized,
Um,
unique and stylized.
yeah, I'm on the same page with you. Babylon, and it had a ton of variety to the different scenes and this different um, different setups that they had throughout the film. Um, whether it be like the interior stuff at the parties in the mansions or the exterior film shoots, um, everything just looked pretty like perfect um, for where they were shooting.
One thing also that I think was great with just the overall production design. The movie is set up with different time periods, so it takes place in different years, different decades. Like distinct parts, of time, and each time period has a different feel to it.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a lot of different flavors.
yeah, so I thought that was really cool the way they did that as well.
Doug, how about yourself? I know you haven't seen Babylon.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would pick that one or not. Actually, the weird one that's sticking out to me, and weird just because it's not over the top and showy, is the Fablemans.
Yeah,
It just seemed really authentic and really really like it was very detailed about making sure that everything was something that was from that time period. Um, and just like I watched the Fableman with my parents, and they were like, "Oh yeah," or like, "This is exactly like what it looked like," and this is they were just kind of like, "Holy crap, this is like basically transporting me back to
yeah,
this period of time." And so I think they just got a lot of the finer details right. I mean, I've heard Spielberg talk, and he was like, "Yeah, that was my house. You know, that was exactly my house." And so it just seemed like they really nailed that period. And so it wasn't showy per se, but it seemed like they were really spot on with making everything authentic.
that's fair. Yeah, because Babylon was definitely showy,
Hmm.
while also I almost it seemed to look authentic for the time period, but it's a lot harder to go back to the 20s and 30s
Yeah.
for getting authenticity than it is in the 1960s and 70s, um, or 50s, 60s, 70s. Um, okay. Uh, who's up now? Is it myself again, or is it
I was up.
Doug or
Yeah,
Doug
it's
or
Doug.
Doug?
I think
You'll
it's
go
Doug.
first this time. All right, so we'll go with best original song. We have "Applause" from "Tell It Like a Woman" by Diane Warren. "Hold My Hand" from Top Gun Maverick by Lady Gaga. "Lift Me Up" from Wakanda Forever by Rihanna. "Natu Natu" from RRR. Not going to attempt to pronounce the artist name because I will likely just butcher it. And "This Is a Life" from Everything Everywhere by Ryan Lott, David Byrne, and Mitski, I believe it is pronounced. Um,
Mm.
So yeah, I haven't heard all the songs, to be perfectly honest. I know I don't even. Well, Doug, you go first.
I mean, this is so easy. Um, there is only one choice. I hope it wins. Natu from RRR. Such a earworm. The dancing. It's a dance number in the movie. It's a big dance number. It's awesome. Yeah, this one should totally win. It's a Tollywood, big Tollywood dance number. The song's super catchy. Um, I I really hope it wins.
Interesting. I forgot you even saw RRR.
Remember you talking about it?
Yeah,
Positive.
because I haven't seen the film, heard the song. Same with "Tell It Like a Woman." I don't remember the song at all from everything, everywhere.
Neither do
Um, I didn't especially think the song from Black Panther was that special. So for me, it's "Hold My Hand" by Lady Gaga. I thought it was a solid ballad to end the film on.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
Just
Well,
gotta watch,
yeah,
or at least
well,
watch Natu.
I'll hear it for the first time on Sunday.
Yeah.
It sucks that Lady Gaga is actually not performing. She's been too busy with Joker that she hasn't had time to prepare a performance. She will be attending the awards, but won't be performing. But the other four will all be performing.
Oh shit!
Um,
Are they? I wonder if they're gonna do like the whole dance number. It's like a whole big epic like
my
dance.
I would imagine they probably will.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing.
It certainly would get people's attention. Um, all
I
right.
have to imagine. I mean, I don't know. It feels like to me Natu's gonna win, but maybe I'm wrong. It's weird that it's not nominated for best international movie, but
Yes, it is strange, and that was one of the things that stuck out with snubs when the nominations were announced. I would also say, just like Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. I don't know why that wasn't nominated either. The international category is pretty odd. Um, by the way, while we're not going to go over our picks for international, it's obvious All Quiet on the Western Front is going to win since it's nominated for Best Picture, and plenty of other
yeah.
awards. Okay, we got. Sorry, Doug.
I was just gonna say I don't. I think it was that it wasn't that RRR got snubbed. It was that the country gets to pick the movie they put forward, and like India just didn't put forward
Maybe that it. Okay,
RRR. They like chose some other movie stupidly.
maybe that happened with Bardo also,
Maybe.
which is from. Oh wow, it's directed by Alejandro G. Inarritu, the Birdman and Revenant director. Um, it's a Mexican film. Um, yeah, I'm really surprised that didn't get nominated. Okay, beside that, let's move on to Best Original Score. All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Banshees, Everything Everywhere, and Fablemans. For me, this is Babylon. Justin Hurwitz killed it once again on another Damien Chazelle movie. This is like, I don't know, probably the third time that I would have chosen him to win Best Original Score. Um, Obviously, I have a soft spot for John Williams, but I don't think there's a comparison between the Babylon score and the Fableman score.
Yeah, no, I agree with you again, Murph. But when I watched Babylon the other day, that was one of the first things that like struck me was the score. Like the music in the movie was so fantastic. So I think definitely well deserved win.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why Whiplash wasn't nominated. There must have been there was too. It's probably because there was too much.
Oh, it wasn't? Wow. I thought
It
it
was
was.
probably because there's too much music that was already that they were playing that was already
Nominated.
that was already like out in the world. It has to have like a certain percentage of actual original score, so that's probably the reason. But La La Land was a winner from Justin Hurwitz. Okay, Doug, what about you?
I was thinking everything everywhere. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen Babylon, so that isn't. Banshees of Inisherin didn't really stick out to me. Fablemans was good score. I thought, but definitely not John Williams' best. It's just a different type of score. It's not designed to stand out as much as a lot of his other his big blockbuster scores. But yeah, I don't know. I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once recently. Thought the score was really nice. So that's why I'm picking that one, but can't speak to Babylon because I haven't seen it.
It would be nice to see John Williams take home one last Oscar. He hasn't won since Schindler's List. I believe he has 4 wins total. Prior to that, E.T., Star Wars, and Jaws, if I remember correctly.
Did you watch the interview with John Williams, right? And he was talking about like someone asked his wife why she always wears like black.
Yes.
To the Academy Awards, and she's like, "Because we never win."
I mean, dude's been the second most nominated person in Academy Award history, and he's only
won 4.
4. Meanwhile, he's been nominated
50 something times,
53 or 54 times. I'm trying to find that number right now. 53 times. He's won 5 actually. So he's won for Fiddler on the Roof, Jaws, Star Wars, E.T., and Schindler's List.
That's wild.
So 3 Spielberg movies, Star Wars, and Fiddler on the Roof. And back when he won Fiddler on the Roof, that's actually when they broke up the types of score. They had, like back then, the category was best scoring, adaptation, and original song score. There was, it was different back then.
So many good John Williams scores that didn't win though.
Yeah, if he can live, if he can live another decade, he could surpass Walt Disney in Oscar nominations. I believe Walt Disney has 57 or 59. I'm looking that up now.
I think the man's like 94, Murph. I don't know.
No, he's 90.
I don't know if another decade's in the cards.
He's just turned 90, or I believe, or 91.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay.
He has been nominated for 59. Walt Disney 59 times. And John Williams is 91 years old as of February 8th.
I looked it up.
But he likely will be nominated for Indiana Jones next year. So we'll see if he can keep chugging along. He seems like a young 91-year-old. He doesn't exactly.
Yeah, he really does
seem old. I saw him perform live last year. Like, dude still has it. Might be a little slow walking, but otherwise he seems all there. But yes, I do realize it's asking a lot out of him, considering he was planning on being done with film scores with Indiana Jones next year, and he's since rescinded that.
Just takes Spielberg to make another movie.
Yeah, Spielberg he just needs Spielberg to continue making movies and help keep making scores.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I
think he said too in like the interviews, like I can't say no to Stevie.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting any scores from him other than after Indiana Jones. Any scores other than Steven Spielberg scores. He's done with Star Wars at this point. I don't see him taking up any other material for another random director. So, yeah, it all depends on Spielberg churning out some movies. Okay, so you got Fable. You had Everything Everywhere, Doug?
Yep.
Okay.
But we decided to just talk about John Williams because
Yeah,
you
because
can't not.
yeah, exactly.
It's fair.
Won't be remotely upset if he wins. Even though
No,
none of
me
us
neither.
picked it. We're skipping the shorts and the documentaries because we haven't seen any of them. Let's go to international, or sorry, we talked international very briefly already. We're just going with what we think is going to win because we haven't seen any of them, which is All Quiet on the Western Front. So Corey, we've got Best Animated Feature Film. I believe we're at you kicking things off again, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
All right. Well, they are Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell, Blue Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. I've only seen one of them.
I mean, I'm gonna.
So maybe we shouldn't do this category.
Yeah, it's the one I've seen. I wouldn't necessarily pick. So I didn't think
I know
Turning
you've
Red.
seen Turning Red,
I
right?
saw
Is
Turning
that the one that you
Red,
saw?
and it wasn't. It was a lower Pixar movie for me.
I wouldn't be surprised if Del Toro
It's
takes this one.
probably it's gonna. I think Del Toro's gonna win, and I think
Yeah.
That movie's so impressive.
it would probably be my pick if I saw the film.
Did you see Pinocchio, Doug? I heard good things. I have no interest.
I did. I mean, like from a story standpoint, like it's Pinocchio, right? I've seen this. I've seen Pinocchio. They changed the story a little bit, but it's not like I wasn't blown away. But like what they did, it's all the friggin' what do you call that? Where they stop motion. It's all like stop motion, and it's like insane what they were able to do with stop motion. And there's obviously some CGI involved to animate it beyond what stop motion can do, but I don't know. That stuff always impresses the hell out of me. A movie takes like years to make because you can just move it like a centimeter each frame. It's just like wild.
Yeah. All right. So similar to some of our other categories, we're just going to go with what we think is going to win and what we believe based on what we have seen. We would pick, which is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. All right, Doug, we got Best Original Screenplay, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness.
Gonna go everything everywhere all at once. I think it's a highly original screenplay. I think they were able to pull off a lot in that screenplay of a lot of really weird and wild concepts, but they were able to kind of boil it down to a story about a family at the end, at the core of it, that kind of chugs the movie along. And I think it just, for everything that they were able to pull off with how wild that movie is, and still make it work and make it be a movie that worked for a lot of people. It's hard for me to see any other movie win this as that's not Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay. Corey?
I'm in between two. Fablemans was very impressive to me with just this, the screenplay and it being, about Spielberg's life. And I thought that the story that was told was incredibly well put together and very unique. And then I would also want to say the Banshees of Inisherin. I thought that story that was told was also very, very well done and something that I really haven't seen before. So both of those I wouldn't be surprised if either of them win. Banshees was also it was it was such a simple story. And with the performances and just the story of like this friendship that basically soured, the way that they did it, it kept you on your seat, on the edge of your seat. So I thought it was very expertly done.
So you went with Banshees or Fablemans?
Either Banshees or Fablemans. I'm kind of in between both of them.
Gun to your head, what do you pick?
Probably Fablemans.
Okay.
But I also just watched Fable like 2 days ago.
All right. Well,
So
got it.
throw it out there.
Yeah, I haven't seen Triangle of Sadness, full disclosure. Trailer didn't do anything for me. You could probably talk me into any of the other four. I think I'm gonna go out of left field and go with Tar.
I knew you were gonna pick Tar.
The reason I'm going with Tar is because they so effectively made it seem like this was a real life person. And that was mostly due to the screenplay. Um, it's I'm splitting. I'm splitting up with. I'm not giving Spielberg. Spielberg, I will pay his due later. I was very close. I was close to picking him, but I've reconsidered, and I'm going with Tar.
I didn't even know that character didn't exist. Tar.
Like
fooled me.
I think when people search Tar, the biggest Google result is Lydia Tar a real person?
I thought she was. I haven't seen the movie either, but I thought she was totally a real person.
Yeah, so I know, Doug, you hated the film, but yeah, I'm going with that.
I mean, if it's best original screenplay that you can listen to while you want to take a nap, then sure, I'd give it to Tar.
That's fair.
I mean, it's impressive, like all the technical stuff that's in there about like music. Like they obviously did their research because I had no idea what they were talking about half the time when they were talking about like they were getting really technical. So I mean, I think the technical pieces of it are impressive. I mean, I have to. It seemed like what they were saying was like real legit stuff. I mean, I don't have the knowledge
to
know whether or not that was true.
They could have been saying complete gibberish. And I would have been like, oh, wow, Kate Blanchett, you sound like you're telling me the truth.
You guys are really selling me on this movie. I actually might watch it.
You should. Kate Blanchett does a great performance.
She's great in it. She's fucking
a long one?
2.5, I want to say. But I mean, Corey's fucked up right now, if you can't tell, with the sling on his arm, so he has time to watch things. So yeah, and hey, idea: you're having trouble sleeping, watch Tar. Maybe you'll fall asleep. Worst case scenario, you watch the entire movie and still have trouble sleeping. Best case scenario, you like the movie. Well, I don't even know what the worst and best case is with your situation.
It's a good choice,
but give it a shot. All right, so another one where we are all on different pages. So this is now myself.
Adapted.
For best adapted screenplay, yep. All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Woman Talking. This is tough. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Glass Onion. Another well-executed mystery from Rian Johnson. It's such a cheat because it's a completely original film. It only qualifies for adapted because it's a sequel. Same with Top Gun. Top Gun was the other one I was between because I thought the screenplay was exceptional. But Glass Onion, ultimately, the dialogue and everything, it takes the edge for me personally.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Top Gun. Glass Onion is definitely a close second for me, but I think Top Gun edges it out only because it's based on a movie that in no way, shape, or form deserved a sequel. Didn't even need a sequel.
Yeah, and pretty bad movie.
And hasn't really aged well. And then they somehow they write a screenplay for, as a sequel to this movie that doesn't need a sequel. And it ends up being worlds better than the original and stands on its own. So I think that it definitely deserves it. But then to your point also with Glass Onion, I think I wouldn't be upset if that won either.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a challenge, like coming up with all new characters, the exception of Ben LeBlanc, and living up to the first one. So, yeah, I think that's the difference maker. That Knives Out is fucking classic, and this lived up to it. Versus Top Gun, different situation, shitty original one, and then they made a classic sequel. So, both I could understand both choices. I was between the two of them. So, Doug, yeah, I think you're going to be our decision maker here.
I'm gonna write in Avatar: The Way of Water here.
Don't give
I mean, if I have to,
nods.
if I had to pick, out of this list, I'd go Knives Out would be my pick. I think the story I thought was pretty interesting. The characters were a bunch of oddball, unique group of people that were all written differently, and the way the story was told was interesting with a big shift happening about halfway through the movie.
Yes.
I didn't expect. And then Top Gun. I just don't agree with you guys that it's a good screenplay.
Fair.
It's definitely like if comparison is the first movie, then yes, it's a masterpiece. But I still think it's pretty basic. I mean, I get that that's what they were trying to do, and so they executed well at being like a basic popcorn people pleasing movie. But I don't know. For me, I'd much prefer like a Knives Out type of screenplay to win. But
fair.
I think you can't argue with how much money that movie's made.
Yeah, I think Woman Talking is ultimately going to be the winner. I saw it and great screenplay. But I know people were pissed that Sarah Polley wasn't nominated for Best Director. So I think this will be the consolation prize, winning screenplay. Okay. And then we didn't talk about who we thought would actually win Best Original Screenplay, but I think it'll be Everything, Everywhere, or Banshees.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it'll be one of those two.
I think it'll be Everything, Everywhere, but I wouldn't be surprised if Banshees.
Like that could be the consolation prize for Banshees, or we just get a clean sweep and Everything, Everywhere wins. All right. Corey, Best Supporting Actress: Angela Bassett, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever; Hong Chow, The Whale; Kerry Condon, The Banshees of Inisherin; Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once; Stephanie Hsu, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
My first choice is Angela Bassett for Wakanda Forever. I think she's probably the favorite. But I really, really enjoyed Kerry Condon in Banshees. So that would be my pick. This one's a little bit difficult for me because I also think Hong Xiao was amazing in The Whale too. So I wouldn't be upset with anyone winning. Probably the only one that I would be a little peeved with is Jamie Lee Curtis, because I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but I don't think her performance belongs in this category. So I would Kerry Condon would be my choice for Banshees.
Doug?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be upset if Angela Bassett wins. She wouldn't be my pick, other than I think her big scene, she performed really, really well on Wakanda Forever. And if they're gonna do like a a nod to Angela Bassett, I would definitely not be disappointed. I think she's probably would be my number two choice. My first choice would probably be Stephanie Hsu, just because um, her performance as like the big bad is so different and interesting. Um, I mean, well, she's the daughter in the movie, and she's the big bad villain, and it's such an interesting performance that seems to be getting overlooked by a lot of the awards. And it's really kind of bizarre to me because she's arguably just as good as uh, Key and just as good as Michelle Yeoh in her performance, and the things that her character has to do. Um, so I think I think she has zero shot of winning, but um, I think I would pick Stephanie Hsu just because of that performance and how her character is just so over the top and um, yeah, grounded in the scene she's in.
Um, Jamie Lee Curtis, I'd be happy for her if she finally won an Oscar, but
Yeah.
it would be fucking horseshit if she won. She's not the best supporting actress in her own movie. Um, she is the worst performance of these five that are nominated. Any of the other four, would be happy seeing win for their performance, not because of who they are as a like film legend. Um, Although we have some respective, Angela Bassett is kind of getting to her own point where she's becoming a film legend. Um, but for me, um, I would go with Hung Chao. Um, I thought she pulled off a very tough character. Somebody who was both sympathetic to and like a caregiver to the lead, but also an enabler. So like it was a very tough performance to actually get the audience to be behind her, and I enjoyed her like I enjoyed her character and like liked her character throughout, despite the fact that I disagreed with a lot of her decisions. Um, but I ultimately understood them at the same time.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the whales, getting a nod from me there. Um, but yeah, as far as who I think will win, I think it's between Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis, just based on what's been occurring lately. This Everything Everywhere sweep has me worried that Jamie Lee Curtis is going to take it. Also, it seems like there's a Marvel backlash, and Angela Bassett's going to suffer from it. Um, when it Because everyone's been talking about this will be the first acting win for a Marvel movie, um, and that hasn't seemed to have done her any favors. Meanwhile, DC like throws out like Oscar-winning performances, multiple times for the same character, um, but the MCU does not get the respect that Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight did, or Joaquin or Todd Phillips Joker, um, and Heath Ledger Joaquin Phoenix specifically. Um, so yeah, we're all split there. Um, yeah, I thought Stephanie Hsu was fantastic in Everything Everywhere. Just like you said, I think she was right up there with um, Key and Michelle Yeoh. I think she could have had the second best performance in the movie. Um, I'm not one. You watched her a second time recently. Would you say she was the second or third best performance in the movie, Doug?
I don't know. I mean, that it's kind of like a three-way tie almost. They're just like all so good in their
All right, so we
roles.
know who is winning Best Actress and Best Supporting Actor for you. Um,
Well, not necessarily because they're up against different competition.
True. Yeah, good point. Good point. Um, Okay. Best supporting actor: Brendan Gleeson, The Banshees of Inisherin; Brian Tyree Henry, Causeway; Judd Hirsch, The Fablemans; Barry Keoghan, The Banshees of Inisherin; and Ki-Hu Kwan, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Should we all say it at the same time?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't remember who's going first, and second of all, I know we're all gonna have the same pick.
So, Ke-Huy Quan, yes, is more than likely going to win, and he absolutely deserves it. 100%. Would not be upset. 100% on board. However,
Corey's pulling a shocker. Oh shit!
However, I really think that Brendan Gleeson. I mean, has he won? Has he won an Oscar? I feel like he has.
Let's see.
He's definitely been nominated before.
He has been. This is his first Academy Award nomination.
Wow. Okay. So I'm not. This is going to be tough because I thought he was incredible in Banshees. Colin Farrell was as well, but as in the supporting role, he really actually, in my opinion, carried this movie along. So
yeah, it's category fraud. He should be nominated for Best Actor.
They both should.
So should Key. Yeah, you're exactly.
It should be both him and Colin Farrell, but we know why they did that because and there's already a lot of people.
And they put Key in supporting actor because he'd be more likely to win in supporting actor.
Right. So, I would like to see Brendan Gleeson take this personally.
Okay.
He just killed it.
There wasn't category fraud. I would go with Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway.
I still need to see that
because it's an actual supporting performance, and he was fantastic in it. Judd Hirsch is basically an extended cameo.
I don't know why he was even nominated for this. He was really good, but
very good in it. But he's in it for 2 scenes,
5 minutes of the
movie. Subsequent scenes.
He's not a supporting character in this script.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be like one of the in the running for shortest amount of screen time to be nominated for a supporting performance.
I'm shocked Seth Rogen wasn't nominated. I would have actually put him here before Judd Hirsch.
I probably wouldn't nominate either. I'm going to find someone else. And I mean, I love Seth Rogen and I love Judd Hirsch's performance, but I think you could probably find some other supporting actors that would have fit the bill better for this title. But yeah, I go with Ki-Hu Kwan because he's in this category.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm also would go with Ki-Hu Kwan. It's weird for me I mean, not that Brendan Gleeson did a bad choice, but I think my number 2 would probably be Barry Keoghan.
He was
I really thought his performance was a standout to me in the Banshees of Inisherin. But Ki-Hu Kwan is just phenomenal and Everything Everywhere. As Murph said, he's not really he's kind of a co-lead in that movie. I guess Michelle Yeoh is her movie.
She's the lead, but like, let's be real, he's
like the number 2, yeah.
Like the grandfather, they could have had him run for Best Supporting Actor, and he probably would have got a nomination. Put him there and put Key up for Best Actor because he definitely would have gotten nominated for Best Actor. It would have been tougher for him to win.
Yeah.
But okay. Interesting. Corey, thank you for shaking things up. You're making things interesting. And maybe Brendan Gleeson will play spoiler. Barry Keoghan was the only one to play spoiler for Key so far at the BAFTAs. But Brendan Gleeson might have been nominated for lead at the BAFTAs along with Colin Farrell, though. I'm not 100% certain. That would be another thing to fact check. Time to fact check. Fact checking more than usual.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure
sorry, he was nominated for supporting actor also. But yeah, Barry beat Brendan for supporting actor. and beat Key at the BAFTAs. Okay, that takes us to Best Actor. Who is the one who announced who goes first this time? Doug, we'll go with
I
you.
don't know.
Okay. We've got Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for Banshees, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living.
I was trying to think about who I think is going to win this category.
This is a tough one.
It's a 2-horse race, probably between Brendan Fraser and Austin Butler, I believe.
I believe so as well.
But I think they're like what Murph said with spoiler. There could be a spoiler here too. I think Colin
Farrell could be a spoiler.
Yeah,
he won the Golden Globe, but I mean, there's no overlap between Golden Globe voters and Academy Award voters.
I think I'm gonna go Paul Mescal just because After Sun is a great, fantastic movie, and I thought he did a good job playing the father figure. It's not a showy role at all, but his performance really, I thought, seemed to capture. I mean, part of it's probably had to do with the daughter, but I mean, it really captured like a father-daughter relationship, and I think this is the only love that After Sun gets.
It's the only nomination that I had.
Yeah, and so part of me also wants to just give love to After Sun because it was a great movie that I think probably deserved more than just the Best Actor nomination for Paul Mescal.
You said it before I got the chance. I should have let myself go first. Paul Mescal is who I am picking for Best Actor. It's an understated performance. Which makes it stand out more. It's sort of similar to Colin Farrell in the fact that it's more. It's not showy the way that Brendan Fraser and Austin Butler's performances are both very showy. And naturally, they're the ones that are the front runners. Both great performances. I'm also tired of seeing people win just for playing a famous musician, regardless of how good he was as Elvis, which he was. And Brendan Fraser was great in The Whale, but yeah, like you said, After Sun should have got more nominations. They probably should create a new category of like best new filmmaker or something like that, or best film by a new filmmaker. Because it should have been up for more stuff, but he killed it. He's one of the best up and coming actors at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of him, and of the writer director.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, like the daughter. All right, we were talking about you could shove in a better performance for Jamie Lee Curtis. The daughter in After Sun absolutely could be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Granted, again, she's also kind of. She's also kind of an actress.
I'd put above Jamie Lee Curtis. I'd put Sigourney Weaver for her Avatar.
So would I. There are a lot of people I would put above it. No offense, Jamie Lee Curtis. But yeah, Corey, you haven't gone yet. Who do you have for Best Actor?
I'd like to see Austin Butler win, personally. So that's going to be my pick. I'm also hot of just actually watching this movie today for a second time. So that could be part of it.
Recency bias.
Yeah. But still, I think that his performance was incredible. I also, based on a lot of the stuff that he did to prepare for this role, I thought was pretty crazy. they were supposed to start filming during when COVID happened, and then COVID happened, so the movie got delayed, and he just basically sat for 2 years in Australia and just learned and how to be, Elvis and all this stuff. So I think I want to give it to him for just the performance. And I mean, the guy's still having difficulty like getting out of that accent. So it's just
Yeah, we'll see if he disappears the day after the Oscars.
yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. So and he's young. I think like, he deserves it. But so does everyone else, I think, on here. After Sun's one that I do want to see. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, you should try to catch that before Sunday.
Yeah. Living, I have no idea what that is.
I have not seen Living.
Bill Nye, awesome actor. So,
yeah.
But I think he's going to get lost in everything else.
Yeah, I mean, him and Paul Mescal don't have a shot.
Yeah.
Maybe Bill Nye. Bill Nye has a little more of a shot because he's older and like has a reputation. But yeah, I mean, I think it's between. As far as who I think of the ones that I actually think are realistic to win, I would prefer Brendan Fraser.
I wouldn't be upset because he's like another actor that respect a lot that I really would be cool to see him win something like this.
Yeah, and he was great in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, who do you think will win?
I was thinking it was going to be Austin Butler. They love, as you said, musical.
Yeah, like Rami Malek
performances
won
of
it.
someone that was
Taron,
famous. Like
Taron Egerton, he didn't get nominated for Elvis for Rocket Man, right?
Which is crazy to me because I think that's the best out of the three, in my opinion.
Yeah, he won the Golden Globe, but he wasn't nominated for the Oscar.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. To me, his performance was way not. I shouldn't say way, but it was definitely better than Robbie Malek's performance, and he sang everything.
Yeah, they fucked up there.
Yeah,
but
like, I don't know.
The Academy fucks up often, so
yeah.
All right, but yeah, I wouldn't be upset to see Austin Butler win because again, he did give a very good performance.
Yeah.
All right, best actress. I'll take this one. Kate Blanchett, Tar, Ana de Armas, Blonde, Andrea Riseborough, to Leslie, Michelle Williams, The Fablemans, Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere, all at once. I have yet to see Blonde or To Leslie. It's interesting how a movie so panned like Blonde would end up getting a best actress nomination. I'm interested to eventually catch it and see how that happened. Also, there's the whole controversy around Andrea Riseborough's nomination. How I don't really understand the controversy, but apparently you can't have famous people pushing for you and like being influencers for you. I don't really know why, but you can spend a bajillion dollars on like all these other ways of marketing your movies to get a nomination. But of the three I have seen, I'll go with Kate Blanchett for Tar. Michelle Yeoh was great. Kate Blanchett was greater.
I would probably agree with you if I saw Tar. But since I didn't, I'm going to go with Michelle Williams. I thought she was absolutely fantastic in Fablemans. And I don't have a lot of basis around, Steven Spielberg's mom, but I do remember when she was alive, like her being at various shows and stuff and like events. And especially after going back to YouTube and looking at stuff, I was like, holy crap, like she nailed it. Like literally her performance was so perfect as a representation of his mom. So I think she would definitely deserve this win. That's what I would like to see.
And I would do Kate Blanchett, Tar.
Oh wow, that was
Yeah, as much as I didn't care for the story that the movie was about, Kate Blanchett did a really great job portraying this fictional character. Um, I bought that, it was as you guys said about it, it was a real person. One of the scenes that stands out to me is when she's teaching a class, and she has an interaction with her students. She just seemed very authentic. The performance kind of just felt like I was watching a professor.
Yeah, it was very naturalistic.
Yeah, it just felt like I was in like a classroom watching a full of themselves professor teaching about whatever the subject was, and so yeah, her performance just really stood out to me. I think Michelle Yeoh would be my number two. Um, and I think it's just the competition. It's just Kate Blanchett just did such a good job, but I obviously wouldn't be sad if Michelle Yeoh won. I really don't know what's going to happen in this category.
I wouldn't be upset with her winning either.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's
Kate
hard
Blanchett
to.
has 2 Academy Awards already. Michelle Yeoh has none. It's her second nomination. She was nominated, I think, for Crouching Tiger. Again, I am going to confirm that is correct. No, she wasn't nominated.
Okay.
Nominated for plenty of other awards for it, but not the Academy Award.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's probably another 2-horse race between Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know who's going to take it.
Yeah, it's
because Everything Everywhere all at Once has a lot of momentum.
Yeah, so exactly.
Just a question of how much that's going to push some of these other categories where they don't seem like locks, like Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress. I don't think either are locks for Everything Everywhere, but I wouldn't be surprised if the momentum pushes in either of those categories, the actresses.
Yeah, no, I mean, over. Actor, actress, and the supporting actress all are toss-ups, which is actually pretty exciting. But it wouldn't shock me if it's just Everything Everywhere steamrolls based on the momentum that you mentioned. All right, Corey, Best Director, Martin McDonagh, Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, also known as the Daniels, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg, The Fabelmans, Top Field, Tar, and Ruben Östlund, Triangle of Sadness.
I'm gonna personally go with Martin McDonagh for Banshees. That's who I would like to see win for this one. I think there's a possibility, but I think it would end up being spoiler, like type of situation where it just cancels out Everything Everywhere and potentially maybe Fabelmans. I haven't seen Triangle of Sadness or Tar, so I can't speak for those. But I think Everything Everywhere will probably end up taking this one.
Yeah. I'm going Spielberg here for Best Director. Like I said, I passed up on the screenplay to spread the love, giving it the love to him here for director. I mean, they go hand in hand ultimately. I mean, what he did was just crazy impressive, like just putting his whole life out there, like on the screen and getting such great performances out of everyone. And Paul Dano, someone who I think should have been nominated for Best Actor. the app. I'm not sure of the
The kid.
The kid was great. He was
yes,
fantastic.
I'm not sure is Gabriel LaBelle. He was fantastic as Sammy Fableman.
He was
Like
really
you
good.
said,
Yeah.
Michelle Williams, great. Judd Hirsch, fantastic in his extended cameo. Seth Rogen, solid in his role. Um, Fucking uh, David Lynch
Yeah, David Lynch. He was so good.
as John Ford.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just the man deserves his third Best Director Oscar after Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is summation of his career, and the movie's quality lives up to that. So for me, it's Steven Spielberg.
I would go the Daniels with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think they're probably going to be the ones that win it.
Probably.
Probably.
Wouldn't be sad if it was Spielberg. Fablemans is a great movie, and definitely one of the top movies. It was on my top movie list for the year. Spielberg's a great director. Really, I agree. Really interesting that Spielberg put out a movie about himself, and also really interesting that he didn't focus on any of the time period where he was a famous director or really a director at all. It was really just him growing up and his family life, which I thought was a really interesting approach and not something you typically see when you're watching movies about famous people. Is the time period before they even get close to being famous.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Daniels, I think thought the movie was really uniquely shot. A lot of the action scenes were really fun, entertaining. They stretched a budget to make it look like a movie that cost not a lot of money. Was to me, it looked like a more expensive movie than it really was. And then the fact that they were able to get the performances out of their actors, that they've got so many nominations, I just think it's hard to ignore the Daniels. And
they made the definitive multiverse movie of the year, despite another movie having multiverse in its title.
yeah, they wound up making a way more interesting multiverse movie than the Doctor Strange movie. Although I am less critical of the Doctor Strange movie and enjoy it more the second time around. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
so did I.
it's it is definitely the definitive multiverse movie of 2023 or 2022, should I say?
All right.
Big one.
The big one. We got 10 nominees for the second year in a row. We're sticking with 10. All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Woman Talking. Doug, you are up.
To the surprise of nobody, I'm gonna pick Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like I said, for all the reasons I just said on why I think it deserves it, I think it's my favorite movie of the last year. So it's kind of one of those weird times where my movie aligns with the movie that I think may win, or my favorite movie aligns with what may win, or has a decent chance of winning Best Picture this year. And yeah, I just think the movie overall is really good. So from the acting to the directing to the score, uh, editing, I just think it's an all around great movie. I hope it wins. For all the reasons I also mentioned on Best Director, I wouldn't be sad if The Fablemans won. But Everything Everywhere All at Once would be my favorite here.
I would actually. I'm gonna go with Fablemans. I probably, other than Banshees, probably the two movies that I enjoyed the most, out of this list. A lot of them I haven't seen. Top Gun, I don't think I would nominate, even though I've seen it so many times. But again, because I didn't go with Steven Spielberg for director, definitely want to give the movie or credit where it's due with Best Picture. And I think he could win it. I think it's very, very possible. But again, Everything Everywhere, I think will most likely take this one. I don't. Avatar. I'm actually shocked that Avatar was nominated for this one. To be honest.
Yeah.
It was a great movie, but not. I don't think on this level.
Yeah. Followed the first one being nominated. It got a lot less nominations than the first one did. But yeah, it did. I think it's more so for like the technical achievements that it ultimately got the nomination.
Yeah.
Than anything else. For me, I'm going with my favorite film of 2022. I think it's the film that best summed up the year in film.
I knew you were gonna pick this movie.
Be silly if I didn't. Top Gun Maverick. Like I've said, it's a perfect popcorn film. It it the fact that I only picked it for two things, I'm actually pretty surprised. It's because Tom Cruise got fucking robbed, not nominated for actor, or I probably would have picked him. I would have picked him, and Joseph Kosinski probably should have been nominated for best director. Not that I don't think I would have picked him, but yeah, Top Gun Maverick is there's not one weak aspect of that film. From all the technical sides to its screenplay, to its direction, to its acting. It's, in my opinion, going to have far and away the biggest impact on film. Well, I think I'm retracting that statement. I think Everything Everywhere, it has such a fucking cultish fan base that it could be remembered, but I also could see it being forgotten. I don't know. But yeah, I just think Top Gun is so far and away the what a best picture is, which is just it's just an absolutely perfectly executed, all around, well made film. So yeah, we are split on a lot of categories. As far as who I think is going to win, Everything Everywhere, possibly All Quiet on the Western Front because it swept the BAFTAs. And they do, and the way the voting is done with these 10 nominees is like a ranked system. So, like, I think you're going to see a lot of old people that put Everything Everywhere far down on their list, while it's also going to have a lot of number ones. But like All Quiet, I can see consistency, like in it being ranked high. So it could be a surprise. Top Gun would be kind of a shocker, but I think it's the third most likely to win based on the awards that have gone out so far. But I would be shocked if Everything Everywhere all at once didn't win, but just based on it's won all four guilds. It's won Critics' Choice. It won the Golden Globes, right? Doug, did win Golden Globes for us?
Yeah, I think it's won.
Or did
It's won everything? I thought
might have lost
outside of
BAFTA. Won the Independent Spirit Award. Just checking Golden Globes. No, it didn't win because I believe Elvis won musical or comedy at the Golden Globes because Banshees did.
Banshees won.
But yeah, like I said, the Golden Globes aren't as much as a big deal anymore when it comes to the Academy Awards. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting ceremony. Yeah, Kate said Tom Cruise is the worst. Yes, she has a blind hatred for him. This is true. But yeah, that's I think all she wrote. Anything else to add regarding the Oscars?
No, I think it's
Anything you're to try to catch up with before the ceremony?
I'm probably gonna try to check out Tar and After Sun. Those are two more that I still want to watch before the show.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna.
All Quiet on the Western Front as well.
I'll definitely watch All Quiet on the Western Front, and I'll probably try to watch Everything Everywhere again and see if my perspective on it changes on another viewing. As of now, I mean, I did give it one of my picks, so I respect the film quite a bit. I just don't see what a lot of people see. Doug, anything you're going to try to catch up on before Sunday?
My Year of Dicks sounds. No, I'm just kidding. Did you guys see that that's a nominee on Best Animated Short Films?
I did not.
So weird.
I'm sure they'll have a joke about that.
Probably All Quiet on the Western Front. I'd also like to see Babylon, just because you guys gave it so many awards.
Bless you.
Thank you.
That one's tough because it's so long. You know, it asks for a lot of your time, but if you can fit it in, I would definitely check it out.
I mean, how long can this movie be?
It's 3 hours.
I think it's 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's basically the exact length of Way of Water.
Yeah.
For 3 hours and 9 minutes, and
I'm not sure if that counts the credits either. I don't think it does.
It should. They count credits with
times. Yeah. Okay.
You gotta when everyone has post credits nowadays.
Did they at least put it into acts like Zack Snyder's
they do
Justice
not.
League?
I mean,
but if you can handle some other 3-hour movies, you can handle Babylon.
I mean, they kind of do with the time. Like they have specific cuts to time periods where it's like 1920 or 1930. So I guess you could stop there and watch it in chunks.
Yeah, and Babylon was a movie that grew on me after when I was watching it in theaters. My initial reaction was like, "This is a lot. This is like Wolf of Wall Street, but on steroids, gross."
Yeah,
but by the end and then afterwards, like it stuck with me, and I respected it more and more the more I thought of it. But it's
chaotic,
on,
for sure.
It's on Paramount Plus, Babylon. All Quiet's on Netflix. Corey, you have rented After Sun, and Tar is on Peacock. So all these films are accessible in various places. So yeah, we'll see.
Nice.
Be interested if any of our picks would change based on what we watch over the next few days. Yeah, we'll touch upon, assuming we do an episode next week, we'll touch upon the winners a little bit and talk about The Last of Us, along with some of the films that have come out recently. But that's all we have for today. Thank you again for listening. Enjoy the Oscars this Sunday. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, along with subscribing on various podcast channels. As always, this has been Corey, Doug, and Murph at Lip Breathe Film. We'll see you again next time, film fans.
Bye.